Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Vajjana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vajjana Ranjana Jamunitira Natari Jamunitira Natari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunitira Natari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Boom! Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Boom! Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Boom! Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Boom! Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribha Jakachai Asatita Shisham and the Divine Grace of Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki. ISKCON BBT founder Chaya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Brinda Ki. Namachaya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gosha Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sadi Go Bhakta Brinda Ki. Say Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gita Godan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadip Dham Ki. Jagannath-puri Dham Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Sambheda Bhakti Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Shri Sri Radha Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to divine lotus feet, the Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Krishna Swadamo Pakate Damaganadi Bisaha Kalanda Sadasham Mesha Parano Konadodata Narana Namaskritchandanam Shaivam Narotama Devim Sarsatim Vyasam Tatojaya Mudirayat. Did we say Nasta Prayesha Abhidrishu? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Utame Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. The Bhagavatam has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna, accompanied by knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness at the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the goddess of the, what? Goddess of the Saraswati? The author Srila Vyasadeva? I've forgotten somebody. Lord Narayan. Yeah, that sort of counts. And my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sam Mam Shmritir Mriga Dehe Pi Vira Krishnarchana Prabhava No Jahati Ato Aham Janasangad Asango Vishankamano Vivritas Charami Samam Smritir Mriga Dehe Hare Krishna. Samam Smritir Mriga Dehe Pivira. Krishnarchana Prabhava Najahati. Ato Aham Jana Sangara Sango. Vishankamano Vivritas Charami. Samam Smritir Mriga Dehe dehe pivira. Yeah, there we go. Krishna chana prabhava no jahati. Ato aham jana sangara sango. Vishankamano viritas charami. Samam smritir mrigadehe pivira. Krishnarchana prabhava no jahati. Ato aham jana sagara sango. Vishankamano viritas charami. Krishna chana prabhava no jahati. Ato aham jana sangara sango. Vishankamano viritas chamami. Sama smritir mriga dehe pivira. Krishnarchana prabhava no jahati. Ato aham jana sangara sango. Vishankamano viritas charami. Samam shmitir mrigadehe pira. Krishnarchana prabhava no jahati. Ato aham jana sangara sango. Vishankamano viritas charami. Sa, that. Mam, me. Smriti, remembrance of the activities of my previous life. Mrigadehe, in the body of a deer. Api, although. Vira, O great hero. Krishna Archana Prabhava, which appeared because of the influence of sincere service to Krishna. Najahati, did not leave. Ato, therefore. Aham, I. Janasangat, from the association of ordinary men. Asanga, completely detached. Vishankamana, being afraid. Avrita, unobserved by others. Charami, I go here and there. So who's speaking? Jad Bharat. And who is he speaking to? The previously proud Maharaj Rahugana. Who's filling in for us? What is it anyway? My dear heroic king, due to my past sincere service to the Lord, I could remember everything in my past life, even while in the body of a deer. Because I'm aware of the fall down in my past life, I always keep myself separate from the association of ordinary men. Being afraid of their bad materialistic association, I wander alone unnoticed by others. So also you say, my dear heroic king, due to my past sincere service to the Lord, I could remember everything of my past life, even while in the body of a deer. Because I'm aware of the fall down in my past life, I always keep myself separate from the association of ordinary men. Being afraid of their bad materialistic association, I wander alone, unnoticed by others. And in Prabhupada's purport, in Bhagavad Gita it is said, Svalpam apayasya dharmasya, Bhagavad Gita 2:40, it is certainly a great fall down to go from the human life to animal life. But in the case of Bharat Maharaj or any other devotee, devotional service to the Lord never goes in vain. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 8:6, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tijate ante kalevaram. At the time of death, by nature's law, the mind is absorbed in a certain type of thinking. This may lead one to animal life. Yet for a devotee, there is no loss. Even though Bharat Maharaj received the body of a deer, he did not forget his position. Consequently, in the body of a deer, he was very careful to remember the cause of his fall down. As a result, he was given a chance to be born in the family of very pure Brahmins. Thus, his service to the Lord never went in vain. Om Agyanatamarandasya Gyanaganasala Jakshushun Militan Gena Tasmade Shri Gurave Namaha. Well, now that's curious. Somehow or other, I do not have any of my minutes, my notes. Ah, let there be life. And did it revive? Well, looks like we are. Krishna's mercy. East meets west. So let us start. I do want to stick on my notes because I want to try to finish on time. Wish me luck. So here we hear Majrahugana being called a great hero. Vira, a great hero. All right. Well, let's think about that for a minute. What makes someone a great hero? There's a line from T.S. Eliot, the poet, and Prabhupada will quote poetry sometimes. And it's talking about he's talking about, the poet, the degradation of the nobility of humankind. Ethics, truth, compassion, aesthetics, gentle. Just like the Bhagavatam describes, what are the good qualities of a human being? And he says, and he's writing right after World War I, I believe. If one wasn't enough, then two came along. So, T.S. Eliot. And he wrote, and he closes his poem lamenting this. And he says, and how will the world end? Not with a bang, but with a whimper. And the idea there'll be some big cataclysmic atomic bomb and we'll blow ourselves to hell, or, you know, a meteor will crash into us and we'll go the way of the dinosaur. There'll be some big dramatic event. He says, no. And I'm not quoting him as Shastra. I'm trying to make a point here. But we'll just become reduced to gerbils. Just little, you know, if we can make it back to Walmart, if we can pay the mortgage, you know, if you can save enough money so you know, don't have to go on welfare and beg for crumbs at the, you know, whatever it is, cut your pills in half so you can, you know, stretch your payment on your medical. That's not human life. Or Prabhupada, such an expert poet, best of poets, Kavi, Prabhupada says, to labor simply to have a pigeonhole in a skyscraper building. Especially when you drive from Bombay, out of Bombay to, and you see it in New York, you see it in Chicago, you see it in Korea, in Seoul, Korea, huge gray buildings. And they all got one little window, and they look, and there's a little family crammed in there, and they pay, you know. Prabhupada said they don't even have a porch. You drive around now, look at some of these porches in some of these apartment buildings. There's a window and it's not really a porch. You ever looked at it? It's just railing about 6 inches from the building. It looks like a porch, but you can't put a chair out there. You can't, And Vedic culture and any culture around the world, you have the house, then you have a boundary wall, there's a gate, and there's a front courtyard. And you have your animals to the side. You got your cows, you got your horses, you got your little spice garden, you got a place for the kids to play, you got a tree for shade, you got a well. That's human life. The average income, may be whatever it is, one of the lowest per capita countries in the world, but they got peace of mind, which you can't purchase. And they got a healthy life. They got their family. So how is this, that you're at the top of Trump Tower, Trump the chump, you're the chump, because it's got Trump's name on the building in gold, and you got a little pigeonhole in this. You don't even have a well or fresh water, or you're on your third wife. How is that heroic? So what does it actually mean, a noble life? This is what human life is meant for. That's what makes us different than animals. Prabhupada gave the example. It's a great example. If I have a bucket of water, just picture one of our 5-gallon buckets of water halfway full. Dimitri Prabhu, if you put your arm in that bucket, what happens? The water line goes up. All right, fine. When you take your arm out, what happens? Goes down where? To the exact, you know the example. It goes back to the exact same place. Prabhupada said, should we live our lives like that? We just take up some space? But that's all we did. And as soon as you're gone, the line returns right back to where it was. We didn't have any impact whatsoever. And it's a fact, because as a priest, I've done a number of funerals. 6 months, 6 weeks, sometimes 6 days after the person's dead, they can't even remember what they look like without a picture. What to speak of the sound of their voice. What does that mean? What kind of input? Was that a heroic life? We were simply polished dogs and cats, living in a pigeonhole in a skyscraper building and hoping we can eke out enough income so we don't, at least we don't have to be thrown into a debtor's graveyard or an unknown grave. What do you used to call that? A pauper's cemetery. That's glorious. So here the king is to be called heroic. Also, what is that accomplishment? Prabhupada says to be in the dog and hog glorifying society. I mean, Prabhupada's got these just, we're used to it, but if you actually stop and think about it, that's a pretty powerful statement. That people are living like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. We can discriminate. I mean, I'm sorry to be heavy, but we're going to get a little softer towards the end, I hope. I asked Hridayananda Maharaj one time, because he can give, especially in those days, he gave very powerful classes. I said, what's your secret? He looked both ways and said, 2 rasgulas before I sit down on the Vyasasana. And frankly, because my blood sugar was dropping, I had a nice piece of that nice burfi that you bought. Oh, that is nice. From Boise burfi. Whew. So sorry if there's a little energy stewing around in there. But the point I'm trying to make is that, so what? If one's a hero in the materialistic world, a hero at what? Dogs eat. So, you're at the 5-star, what do they call that? It's a Michelin 5-star restaurant. There's only 100 of them in the world, if that many. But what are you eating? Bones and feathers. Sawing away at some bones and feathers with a knife. You got to drink liquor to digest that nasty stuff. Well, how is that glorious? And we could go on and on. I don't want to take up the time. I want to talk about some other things. But to be praised by a jackal fell in a vat. It was climbing and sneaking around the village, and fell off a wall into it. It's from the Panchatantra, and fell into a vat of dye, and he came out purple. And he was very embarrassed, and he slinked back to the jungle. But no one had ever seen a purple jackal. Said, "Oh, must be somebody special." And they made him king of the jungle. I guess the tiger or lion was on vacation, so he was But the moon kept getting fuller and fuller, waxing, getting fuller and fuller. And what did jackals and wolves love to do? So they're all thinking, "Oh, this is some special deva, purple deva." But when the moon got full, he couldn't hold back. And what did he do? Ow! They said, "Wait a minute, this is just a jackal, a purple jackal." And they chased him out of the forest. So the ordinary, mundane, standard, "Oh, he's a very good jackal. Oh, he's a high-class dog." A dog is a dog. I'm sorry. Analyze. When Prabhupada was accosted by Brahmananda's mother, and she kept saying, because Brahmananda joined. So the mother was living in upstate New York, got this, and Jewish mother, I'm not picking any nice mother, naturally she was worried about her son. So she sent us to retrieve the wayward elder son. She sent the younger son, Greg. Greg came, checked out the whole thing, called his mother, met Prabhupada, told the mother, "Hey, look, everything's fine. In fact, I'm moving in too." He later on became Gargamuni. You could hear the wheels squeal out of Buffalo as the mother flew down to New York City to save her two sons now. Don't send a boy to do a man's job. So she came herself. The mother came herself. And she kept saying, "You're crazy, you're crazy, you're all crazy." And Prabhupada in his, completely self-satisfied, peaceful, merciful state, he just stopped her and says, "Madam, you think that we're crazy. And if I may speak frankly, we also think that you're crazy. Now let's discuss." He said, "Brahmananda, Bruce, bring me some paper." And probably just like you can picture the scene. Prabhupada just sitting there at his little on his trunk there, took the paper, drew a line down the middle, and said, "Now let's discern. What are the reasons you think we're crazy? Well, you don't eat meat, you don't have boyfriend, girlfriend, you don't go to the movie, I sometimes if I'm cooking it's the right time, I'll catch the BBC because they have the world wrap up. It's just, it's 5 minutes and you find out what's happening. So there was an advertisement that said it's online therapy. Evidently, there's a real boom in psychiatry because of COVID and everyone being cooped up and they don't know if they're going to cough and that's it, get your will ready. So they're freaked. And then it said, "Need therapy? Say, we specialize in divorce, something, and relationships and something else. Relationships and depression." I said, "Did you ever think that maybe your relations are the reason you're becoming depressed? Maybe there's a link here, my friends, So, you're on your fourth wife, how is that, you're very good at sex. Well, what does that mean? And we can just go down the list. That Kim Il-jung's shooting off missiles, just did a new test, flew it over Japan. "Hey, we could blow you up. Send me rice." So, what do you do? How are they heroic? How is that heroic? And to die without the knowing, the meaning, been there, done that. Just like it's describing here, Jad Bharat. No, man, I've been down that road before. I've done it. Where did it wind me up? I wound up in a deer body. I'm not doing that again. And this world, what is it that I think it's in Ecclesiastes? Maybe it's in, I forget, Proverbs? There's nothing new under the sun in the Bible? Huh? Is Ecclesiastes? Yeah, nothing new under the sun. Been there, done that 1,000 times. So why be heroic, so-called heroic, by the standard of dogs, hogs, polished dogs, hogs, camels, and asses, chewing what you've already chewed, right? Anyway, I want to move on to something else because of the time. So and there's that song by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur that the baby is packed up in the womb. Prabhupada said that if we were fully consciousness, we could, if we were put in that condition now, we'd die in a minute. And you're being bitten by bugs, you can't breathe, the mother takes some chili sauce and it burns your delicate body. I mean, it's just long before there were ever ultrasounds or any of that business. Ayurveda describes the whole condition. Kapila Deva in the Bhagavatam describes from the point of conception how the body develops. And at certain months it develops this. Before they had ultrasound or any of that kind of business, you know, it describes when the eyes develop, when the ears develop. The whole thing is there. Where did they get that from? Unless it's descending from the cause of all causes, the source of all knowledge, Bhagavan. Anyway, we go afield. But the point is that the little packed up in the womb, it's a hellish condition. They have that rebirthing, isn't it? You know, if you're traumatized, they take you back through birth by hypnosis. Forget it, man. If that actually was happening, you'd come out of that hypnosis screaming. Don't ever take me back there again. So the pious, Prabhupada describes, and Bhagavatam describes that the pious, at 7 months, at 7 months, the child in the womb becomes conscious. And they start to kick, they start to move around, so many different things, you know. They're trying to get out. So Prabhupada says if the soul is very pious, they pray to the Lord. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing this, that, oh, if I get out of here, you let me out of here, I promise I will simply devote my life to you. I will not fool around. That's it. You get me out of here, that's it. I'm yours. But what happens? Of course, the first welcoming to the world is you get a slap on the rear end. It's so the child will cry and fill his lungs. There's actually a reason for it. But welcome to the world. Whack! And it's all downhill after that, my friends. But then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that the baby sits on the lap, and they all, isn't he cute, you know? And he gets to suckle the mother's breast, and everyone adores him. And they think, hey, not so bad. That's the mantra of this world. Well, all things considered, not so bad. And that's how we go through life. Well, hey, not so bad. Hey, 2022, got to be better than 2021. Not so bad. I mean, and if you think about it, you know, language being the expression of the speaker's experience. Language is like Eskimos have so many words for ice because that's their experience. I imagine in the Sahara, they have so many explanations, words for sand, I guess. Is it? Do you know? We have any? Okay, whatever. Same principle, the opposite side of the coin of the Eskimos and ice. It's always darkest before the dawn. Got to take the bitter with the sweet. Every cloud has a silver lining. What does that mean? Why are people saying that? Because they're looking for that little, there's always a ray of hope. Pandora's box, all the miseries of the world came out. Anyone know what was on the bottom of Pandora's box in Greek mythology? What did she? Well, don't open that box. Naturally, don't think of the color red. Well, there it is. So open the box. All the miseries of the world came out, Greek mythology. But it's an indication of the human experience. Otherwise, why do they have the story? You know what's at the bottom of Pandora's box? No? Hope. Yep, hope. Well, maybe it'll get better. It's always darkest before the dawn. Every cloud has a silver lining. Take the bitter with the sweet. So that's not a heroic life. That's eking out a miserly existence till you drop dead. I'm sorry, but it's the unvarnished truth. And that is our job. If you don't, you know, like, I was a lifeguard one summer because I live by the beach, pick up some summer cash. And sometimes you get people, because they think they're going to die. They're completely freaked. If you ever see a lifeguard, they've got that orange foam thing. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have that on a rope. When you swim out to a drowning person, what do? They grab onto you so tightly, you cannot swim. You'll go down too, especially if you're in high seas or riptide or something. You'll go down too. You know what you have to do? Smack them. Smack them, flip them on the back, and hand them that pontoon, because they'll grab onto that, and then you can swim, and with the rope you can tow them in. But the first thing you got to do, and doesn't that sound the poor guy's going down for the third time, and you swim out and whack. Well, thanks for that, you know. No, because it clears the consciousness that, oh, whoa, 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 wait, oh, this person's here to help me. Here's what he wants me to do. Okay, fine. And they get with the program, you know. They become quite docile. Don't slam too hard, you know. It's got to be moderation in everything. But the point is that the Bhagavatam is a slap in the face. Why? Wake up. You're going off a cliff. And you've gone off that same cliff chasing after the same things lifetime after lifetime. So here we have Bharat Maharaj as a deer, says, hey, no way, man. I'm not doing that again. Govardhan Prabhu, our temple president in Detroit, who I can never repay, Govardhan asked, because Prabhupada, when he would greet the deities, he would pray. So Govardhan asked Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, what are you praying for? Anyone know Prabhupada's famous answer? Yes. He said, I'm praying to Radharani that I won't fall down. This is Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada explained, there's the baby monkey and there's the baby kitten. Baby cat, which is called a kitten. So I don't know what you call a monkette. What do you call a baby monkey? Anyway, huh? A monk? Monkey. Okay, that's funny. I have to remember that one. So anyway, the point is that they are both taking shelter of their mother. Their mother's traveling. The kitten and the baby monkey take shelter. Now, the baby monkey holds on for dear life. And you see it in Vrindavan. You see that they've got their arm around the mother. They're just holding on for dear life, and the mother's cruising, right? Now, how does the mother cat travel with the kitten? Mouth. Now, Prabhupada made you think. All right, now which is better? The cat method or the monkey method? Okay, other than Dravida, who said cat? Huh? Who said cat? You said cat? Why? He's protected by the mother's strength. Those same teeth which strike terror in the mouth for a rat, if you ever had kittens or whatever, had cats, you know, as pets, the mother is carrying the baby in the teeth, and the baby's purring, you know, feeling shelter. Oh, I'm in my mother's lap, practically speaking. So the baby monkey is depending on its own strength to hold on, and the kitten is depending on the mother. So the devotees are surrendered to Krishna, and we're depending on Krishna, and therefore we're in the safest position. So Prabhupada was praying to Srimati Radharani. But we should understand, the point is that it's a dangerous place. That's intelligence. And to solve that problem is heroic. It talks about afraid of bad materialistic association. You're criticizing people. You Hare Krishnas. Bad materialistic association? I mean, what? You calling us a stinker? What's going on here, you know? If you know the elderly Mahavishnu Swami, Gujarati Mahavishnu Swami, who's passed away, certified saintly person and a real sannyasi. So he was speaking at a program we had here at some folks' houses. And he must have had 3 rasgulas because he was firing away like a machine gun. So when it came for questions and answers, and he's a nice person. I'm not going to mention name. He's a nice person, a pious Hindu cum Vaishnava. But he said, you ISKCON sannyasis, whenever you come here, and don't imitate and, you have to know how to catch the fish and not get wet. So if we do it, we'll get punched in the teeth and thrown out and never invited back. But Mahavishnu, you have to be intelligent. So Mahavishnu, so this person asked, you Hare Krishna sannyasis, you always come and just give us such a hard time and criticize, don't do this, don't do that. Why don't you ever just appreciate? Why don't you just, praise us, encourage us? And this guy was a leader of his community, a big guy and quite wealthy. And, little, slender, slight Mahavishnu Swami, and this big guy, and he stood up. He meant it. He was wagging his finger, and he was laying into him. And I was, in my natural, passionate way, I was going to fall off and whack the guy. But I had the wherewithal to wait and see how, and Mahavishnu Swami just took it all in. And then he said, sir, can I ask you one question? The man said, yes. He said, if there's a dead rat in your living room, do I tell you perfume it, or do I say throw it out the window? You follow the example? Man, because the guy was smart. He's a very nice person. We have so many things in our heart. And if I just praise you, oh, very good, very good. Yes, 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 you're going in the right direction of the cliff. Just follow the path right off the cliff. Very good. Oh, he was such a nice man. He gave me clear directions. So what's that, So the devotees, it's motivated by deep compassion and honest analysis and to wake people up. And let's see what else, because I want to wrap up here. I saw that bumper sticker. If you're not paranoid, you're not paying attention. It talks about being afraid of material nature. Well, you Haris, you're just paranoid. You couldn't eat sour grapes because you can't enjoy. Therefore, and you're so weak in your devotion that you're just adverse and afraid of material nature. With a little healthy criticism, I never took heroin. That's not a big confession, but and it's supposed to be. Kids don't try this at home. It's supposed to be a very, no pun intended, intoxicated feeling. Of course, it wears off and you feel like you're hit by a truck. But I never was inclined. I could never understand it. Because you look, what happens to somebody who takes heroin? There may be some few exceptions that can moderate, but very few. Because to get the same high, you have to increase the dose. That's just the way the drugs work. And you see these people, they're lying in the gutter with their pants on backwards, and the guy used to be a professor at University of Maryland. His teeth are all rotted out. He's in his own urine. I thought, whoa, not for me. Because it's that healthy fear of looking what happens. So what happens? We associate with material nature. What happens? Well, what do you want to know? Here's, Bharat Maharaj, almost self-realized. Hey, let Maya in a little bit more. She wiggled her way in. Maya doesn't come with a club. Say, hey, I'm Maya, and I'm going to club you over the head. Oh, hit me right here. It's, she's a very beautiful woman. And for a woman, it's a man. Don't get uptight on me. But she's subtle. And we drop our guard. And before we know it, wham! We're like, a Jamil? We're like a Jamil before you know it. So, or you become a deer. Our Bhakti Daniel, may Krishna please protect him, but our Bhakti Daniel, his idea was, well, I like devotional service, but what else is around the corner? Maybe I'll go waltz with Maya for a while, and I can always come back to Krishna consciousness. I know what that is, and if I start to miss burritos and my fellow Prabhus, I'll just waltz back in. I'll waltz out, and I'll waltz in. But it doesn't work that way. Maya burns to the tip, to the root. It has to be burnt. If you fry a seed, it will not sprout. They've got those seeds that they've gotten from dinosaur poop, and they've sprouted them. Yeah, I think. Or they're working on it. Give me a little grant money. I'm working on it. But the point is that, certainly there's seeds that are 100 years old that have sprouted. So but if you fry it, it's not going to sprout. So Maya's job is to fry to the root. So there should be a cautious fear. I do not want to go down this path. Now, I want to end with one last thing. Let's see, what's that I want to say? Oh, we're talking about a deer. And just for fun, Ram, you remember that there used to be that orange cat? See, I'm not making it up. We have independent confirmation. And somehow or other, I'm going to get there. Somehow or other, merciful Ramapati Prabhu gave it was a street cat. And Ram would give him a little kheer, isn't it? And it got to the point Ram used to stay in this room closest to the patio. He'd come under your window and cry, wouldn't it? And it would only take from Ram. And he was a saffron color. He was respectful. And this cat did many respect. I think we engaged him after all, catching mice. Yeah, we're going to eat after that. Oh, that was it. Anyway, so many things. The nickname was Parshuram because he was getting rid of the rats. But I was thinking he's orange. And he's attached. He would come for Bhagavatam class. I said, this must be a sannyasi. Must be a sannyasi who, fell down with a woman or cheated somebody, got attached to donors, and now he's come back as an orange cat. So he come back as a deer, come back as a cat. There's so many things, So there should be. I guess I'll close with this. And I wanted to read, and maybe we'll do it next Sunday. Narada Muni meets, I guess I'll just read the verse. Narada Muni, the Haryasvas, are being engaged by Prajapati Daksha. He wants them to help him fill up the universe and manage the universe. And they're nice, pious young princes. So Narada Muni appears to them, just as they're about to follow their father. And here's what he says. This is from the 6th canto, chapter 5, verse 8. The great sage Narada said, "My dear Haryasvas, you have not seen the extremities of the earth. There's a kingdom where only one man lives and where there's a hole from which, having entered, one never emerges. A woman there who is extremely unchaste adorns herself with various attractive dresses. The man who lives there is her husband, and in that kingdom there's a river that flows in 2 directions, a wonderful house made of 25 material, a swan that vibrates sound vibration, and an automatically revolving object made of sharp razors and thunderbolts. You have not seen all this, and therefore you're inexperienced boys without advanced knowledge." And they folded their hands, waved goodbye to their father, and followed Narada Muni. That one verse. We're not going to go into it. But the summary is how this machine is a revolving machine of razors and thunderbolts. The hole which you're going, you never come back. You fall into this material world. It's practically forever. The river that flows 2 ways is time, hankering for the future, lamenting for the past. That's what this world is. The beautiful prostitute is the material intelligence and all the ornaments. Oh, you could do this. You could do that. You could be this. Why don't you try that? Oh, okay. And the poor little jiva, off he goes. And what is the solution? He met Narada Muni. What's the solution for Jad Bharat? Meeting a devotee. That's the only, if we could just remember, just as Jad Bharat is remembering his life as a deer and saying, no way, man, I am not doing that again. I'm cutting everything off and I'm with laser attention. I'm getting out of this world. And what sparked that flame was for Maharaj Rahugana, who was completely strapped on this machine, is the association of devotees. They say, and I promise this will be the last thing, they say, what is the biggest reason people do not donate to some cause? What's the biggest reason? And it's not because they're cheap. And it's not because they don't have money. What's the main reason? They don't trust? Okay, that's a good guess. That's a factor. But what's the essential reason? Stumped you? Nobody asked. Who said that? Nobody asked. Sometimes it's the main reason people don't become full-time devotees. Nobody ever asked them. Gee, I could do that? Well, sign me up. So if they don't meet devotees, we should be wary ourselves. Even Srila Prabhupada was wary of this material nature. Don't think you're going to win against Maya. Forget it. You know, if you can't swim across the Atlantic Ocean, you got to get in a boat. You can be an Olympic swimmer. You could swim the English Channel. Sometimes somebody tried, a couple of times they've tried to swim from Cuba to the Florida Keys. 90 miles. I don't even know if it's even 90 miles. I don't even know how far it is exactly. Something like that. That may be to Miami, but I say it's even short. It's very difficult. Most people don't make it. They got to put them in a cage so the sharks don't eat them. Yeah. So we're not going to cross over the material ocean. It's not going to happen. What is that boat? We meet a devotee. Who did Maharaj going to meet? He met a devotee. That's the secret. So we should be afraid of Maya and be attached to the association of devotees. That's intelligent. That is a heroic life. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And if somebody reminds me, we'll go through this by Narada Muni next time, because it's great.